Good morning, everyone. It's almost 10 o'clock. It's 68 degrees out here in the shop, and I thought I would I'd show you how I make a pick. I probably did this before, but I thought I would go in more detail as to what I do to make one. I generally only use a sparrow's pick to gauge for size, the length anyway. I make it a little bit bigger, of course, because this one's gonna be a hook. I make them a little bigger for any room for mistakes. Then I take and I don't cut it like I guess like just say you most would probably do. I take and I just break it off in the vise like that, the piece, and then I will go over here to the my grinder here, and work on the shape. See if I can set you up where you can see me best, where you can see it best. Let's see if I put you right over here. I guess you probably see it pretty good over here. And I'll lean it this way. Hopefully the phone doesn't slide. I gotta put something here. I'll put something here to keep the phone from moving a lot. Pardon me with this here. I guess you can pretty good see things pretty good here. It's in line. It's quite a noisy machine, this thing, I guess you could say. So if you're wearing earphones, I would say turn the volume down or whatnot. Anyway, I'm going to turn this piece of metal into a hook. I'm going to make it into, like I said, a hook, the shortwave hook. As far as being a deep hook or medium hook or short hook, that'll determine that when it's done. That'll be the determination of what it's going to be, because I don't follow any pattern. It could be any size when it ends up being done. First off, I'm going to round over this edge here so it's not sharp for the back. Like I always do, I fucking smoothed it out a little bit with the buffing wheel. Now I'm going to work on the hook. This is the only other time I do this. I use the same pick I used for length to see how far to make make this part here. I just use it, I just compare it like that, and I use it to make that. Make it because this is about what I want. I might maybe make it a little bit, go a little more on there, but, and then I'll do the shaping of the hook. Adjust this here thing because the grindstone's getting a little bit thin and or a little bit smaller, and the pick wants to go in between the stone and that. Now it's time to I'm making this like making this like the shortwave. Compare the handles, make sure I got the handles. Yep. I'm making the shortwave out of this. So now I'm gonna go after the handle. Heat shrink. I use red on the, I believe it's red on the hooks and black on the rakes, but eventually I plan to get a bunch of different colors, 7 or 8 colors I think it was, in 10-foot rolls to make up colors for whoever, for specific colors. If somebody wants certain 2 colors for the for their handles, I can do that. My big lighter ran out, so I've been using a little cigarette lighter like this. I gotta get a big lighter. I don't really care to use this kind of lighter for this job because it's so close to my finger. And now to finish the handle, I cut a little extra piece off for the back of the handle off of another piece, because this stuff comes pre-cut, and the size is perfect for this job, and when I do something different, except for the next year, I'm making getting 10-foot rolls of different colors to make different colored handles, of course. It'll be a lot easier to manage, make one single piece. Alright, there's that so far. Now I take when I do the cleaning up with the sandpaper, I just take a little piece like this, and as you can see, I don't know if you can see it, it's not very shiny right now. I just actually what I do first is I run it on the buffer. Do it before I put the handle on because so it doesn't mess with the handle. Of course, I doing it on the camera and I screw it up first off, but anyway, I just take and I just sit here with this little 2000 grit sandpaper and I just work on this like this. I don't put it in any book or use it as wet or wet it down. This is what I do after I put the handle on. I use the sandpaper on it to make it shiny. Use the same little piece until it's used up. Pretty much. And it takes about 8 to 10 minutes to do a whole pick like this. To do it between the grinding and sanding and all that. Usually around 8 to 10 minutes. I know there's people that use a book to do this and they use little wet water on it. Me, I just do this. I feel it works fairly good doing it this way, and I like to just do things a little different than others because really if you're copying someone, you're just pretty much making a copy of something. It's just that the way I see it is just making a copy of someone else's work. If you do something your own, like the shape is pretty much on this, for these picks I do, you know, it makes it kind of like your own little design kind of thing. I guess you'd say. I might be silly thinking that way, but I mean, that's kind of how I see it. You know. You make it something of your own, you know, not a copy of someone else's work. Then I just take and I just clean up the little bit on the back here. And I'll wipe this off a little. And there it is. It's nice and shiny. Don't know if you can see it, shiny. Then I like to test it out on the. I use this padlock. I've found this was one of the ones I found in that big pile of locks I found. I thought I would use it for testing rather than going after one of that in my collection there. And I always just put it in there and I just push on the pins a little bit, make sure I use a little harder pressure than I would normally use. I just do this a little bit, just a few times. I don't pick it open. If it picks open, it picks open. If it don't, it don't. It just that actually picks it open. I just check it for the strength to make sure it's not going to break, and size and all that. I don't have any way of really gauging how thick this is. Someone the other day gauged them and they were between 19 and 20 thousandths. So I don't know exactly what they are. But I clean up the handle a little bit, and because get the black off of it and that make it look nice. And that's what I do for a pick. I don't know exactly if this would be considered a medium hook or a short hook or a long hook, but I made a few others for a set that I'm going to send out to someone. And as you can possibly see, I don't know if you can see from this far, that each one of these has some degree of difference in the shape of the hook, as well as this one here. This one's probably a little more closer to this one over here. Not the same exact, not quite the same, but close. This one's going to be part of a set to go out to, but I thought I would share that a little bit. I plan to make a couple more hooks and a rake and 3 more rakes, and I'll have 2 sets of it set up. I do have more than just this. I have a whole new roll up there, but this was a whole roll I bought recently, and now I got about maybe 2.5 feet left. But I do, like I said, I got another roll up there, and I'm eventually going to buy another roll, a couple more rolls, to do the stuff in the future. I stockpiled on that. Like I said, also I won't be using these little pieces. I'll just be using 10-foot rolls, and I can cut single piece because handle's quite big, and I always have to cut a little second piece off to cover the rest. I overlap it there a little bit. When I do the handle, the wave part of the handle, I don't make them all the same. There's no specific pattern that I use. You can see that one's a little different, and this one's a little different too. They're not quite the same on every one of them, but I try to follow kind of the same thing, but I don't do exact. I don't clean up I don't buff up the edges or anything, because when you do the grinding, it leaves a little burr on it, and it gives it a little bit of a hump on the sides there to give it even better, make it more interesting looking, I guess you could say. I guess I could make a rake real quick. I can't do a Neo mountain rake, but I could do one of these other rakes like I got over here. These triple peak, or what do you want to call them, ones. They always turn out different every time too. This one here is probably a wider one. What I'm going to make now is probably going to end up being a shorter distance one. Like I said, I don't follow any pattern other than I take a lock pick like this, and I just measure the side for length, make sure I get a good length, and I just use this here from here to here to gauge the size of how long I should make the shaft. I don't use it other than that. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to break this off and make this rake real quick. I make the ones for the rakes just a little bit bigger, but not by much. Just because in case I screw up the end or something, I can you know, cut it up, break it off, and make it a little bit different. See, this one here is done for a hook, and you can see it's a little bit. The one I just did for rake is a little bit longer. And I'm gonna make this rake and this one I made it too thin there in the areas, and it's no longer any good because I just know that it will break off and bend real easy like that. So that there is no good piece. First one I've made them, that didn't turn out good. So I start over with a new piece. I didn't do that on purpose though. Like I said, I didn't do it on purpose.